Hello, everyone. This is Tom Fox, and I'd like to welcome you to the Daily Compliance News. The Daily Compliance News is an offering of the Compliance Podcast Network. This is Tom Fox. Welcome to the Daily Compliance News for March 18, 2019, the Selection Monday edition. First up, an article from the Houston Chronicle entitled "Mid-sized Companies Are the Biggest Cybersecurity Risks." It's an issue that companies really don't have enough money to, or don't take the time and money to spend on sufficient cybersecurity. They tend to trust each other implicitly, so they dismiss the need for internal cybersecurity controls. They put traditional locks on parameters of operations that can run without disruption on the inside. And the problem is, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. But that's not the problem, or rather that is the problem, that cyber criminals are a step ahead of that. Next up, from the Financial Times this weekend was in Lunch with the FT, we had Victoria Beckham. So we had the former global pop star to partner in a multi-million-dollar brand. Beckham, former Spice Girl, has a talent for reinvention. Over sushi, she talked to the FT about building a luxury label and what Mr. Beckham, her noted husband, has in terms of a fashion sense. The thing that struck me the most about this article is Beckham's work ethic. She works very, very hard. She has achieved quite a bit of success in her life, but you can chalk it up largely to hard work, certainly in her start with the Spice Girls. Next up, as part of the continuing saga of the admissions scandal, which broke last week, in the New York Times, it brought a new term that I was not aware of called snowplow parents. And snowplow parents are those who plow all of children's obstacles, future obstacles, away so that their future is obstacle-free, even when it means crossing legal and ethical boundaries. And the article asked, what message does that send to your children? Would they be like the Trump children, for instance, and think that anything is fair based upon the actions of their father? If you listen to Eric or Donald Jr., you would certainly get that impression. So what happens when you make an obstacle-free future for your children? Certainly something worth thinking about. And then finally, from the Washington Post, another story about the admission scandal. And in this story, they focused on the parents who made the corrupt bribe payments and then took tax deductions for it. Sometimes they disguised as donations to universities. And if that's true, I would certainly expect the IRS to come looking to them for tax fraud as well, in addition to one very large tax bill going forward. I'm back from PodFest Expo 2019. I've got a lot of great new ideas around the podcast and the Compliance Podcast Network. Stay tuned for them all. This is Tom Fox. If you have any ideas for the Daily Compliance News, please feel free to email me at tfox@tfoxlaw.com. I'd love to hear from you. As you may know, we've had several new offerings on the Compliance Podcast Network. One of those includes Popcorn and Compliance, where Jay Rosen and I take a look at compliance through the lens of movies, both current, contemporary movies, and classic movies. Also premiering in December. And finally, Mary Shirley and Lisa Fine have premiered their new podcast, Great Women on Compliance. I hope you will check that out. It's a great podcast series. We have several other offerings that are in production that will go live hopefully in Q1 of 2019. I hope you will check back to see the offerings on this Compliance Podcast Network.